Welcome, week 24, Griffey Jr. of NFHell. Super Bowl discussion week. We have made it to the end of the season, boys. I'm Midwest Jet, Dames Marvs, G-Man Jazz, GOBO. Anybody wanted to
What's
say
up?
anything fast there, but what's up?
A little fast,
Hey,
bro.
everybody. Yeah, I was gonna say, next season you're gonna have to give us a little bit of like time in between there.
I
was going to say,
Well, I can't believe we're at week 24 and we still don't have this down.
I know. I'm like week 24. Yes, yes, and yes.
Because it's just gonna be on the screen to be like,
And you're gonna be like, all of you were like,
oh my God.
I
The
planned that.
Eagles lost. I'm happy the Eagles lost.
And we are going to get to that, G-Man Jazz. First, we do want to talk about a little NFL news. This episode is brought to you by the one and only who hosts the show, Lock 22. Comment below, we'll get you a sticker. We'll get you a sticker. Let us know where we can send it, where we can bring it.
Yeah.
Any way we can get it to you. I did watch the game with one of our viewers, Cracker. Thanks for joining me to watch the game and comment on the comments. We appreciate all that. So make sure you guys are commenting below as we get going on this episode. We are going to talk quarterbacks to start off tonight's episode. I mean, do you guys want me to really start or?
whatever, yeah. I know that you want to, and I know what you're going to, so go ahead.
Yes. Well, I was going to turn the lights off in here, make it similar to Aaron Rodgers' situation right now. He started day one of his 4-day darkness treatment. That is basically to get his mind right to decide that he wants to come to the New York Jets. So
I just want to say ayahuasca because we haven't yet.
This will be this has the classic making for where everyone thinks it's going to be good. Kind of, Russell Wilson this year, and then he's going to go to the Jets next year and forget how to play football. Forget how to play football.
Classic Hall of Fame quarterback swan song. I mean, it's Montana with the Chiefs. It's Unitas with the Rams. It's Brett Favre with the U.S. government. It's all just gonna be bad. So enjoy them if you can. Like I said, I'm like sort of curious about ayahuasca now. So
he's so curious. He's frozen.
More power to you if it goes to the Jets. So we'll see what happens. Did everybody just freeze? Okay. All right.
When you said ayahuasca.
Did I freeze? Oh, okay. You guys all froze on my screen. I want to see another quarterback in green and gold next year. So there's my perspective on it. So yeah, Aaron Rodgers, more power to you. Go head on up to Meadowlands and be weird for somebody else's fan base.
Do you think though that he's the Montana or Unitas-esque a part of his career? I mean, I feel like let's just say, for instance, he can play till Brady age 45. That's 7 more seasons.
I don't think he has that kind of longevity. I think that
he got hurt.
Yeah, I think honestly, Brady was able to stay in the league for so long because he was so good at avoiding hits. He was never really particularly mobile, and he was predominantly behind a very good offensive line and never really got that big injury. Rodgers, yeah, he has a shattered collarbone. He's got hip issues. He's got knee issues. He's got hand issues. He'll be starter quality for another 1 to 2 seasons, but there's no way he's 7 more years.
He's already in a 4-day dark spell for his mentals.
Right.
My take is, and my first time saying it is, I don't think Tom Brady would be doing ayahuasca. He's last until he's 45 doing his TB12, and he's not doing ayahuasca. So Aaron Rodgers, it's near the end. The concussions are adding up. He's hitting all these strange ways to refresh his brain, and maybe he'll take you to one, but
Okay, he did ayahuasca before both. Again, we're gonna say it before both MVP seasons. I feel like this is the other way. Like he's doing something Tom Brady maybe should.
What was the difference this year then? Objectively, so not as a Packers fan, like what was objectively the difference this year between
Devontae? You can't lose the best receiver in the game and get a bunch of rookies in there, and then you make Lazard your one. Not going to work.
No. Lizard is definitely a 3 at best.
We have Garrett Wilson. Rookie of the year.
Remember who Mahomes lost, and he had better stats this year. He lost Tyreek Hill, and he had better stats this year than that. So the quarterback is aging. He won those after he did it, but now it's been 2 years. He's been contemplating retirement for a while. He doesn't have what Tom Brady has, the love of the game, like Tom Brady has.
Dude, that's the biggest thing. You got Tom Brady, who's got a Michael Jordan mentality, and then you've got Aaron Rodgers, who's got a LeBron James mentality. I mean,
that's
pretty generous, honestly.
I'll take LeBron.
Okay. I was like, I think
the guy that you
want more like Allen Iverson-y than if we're talking about basketball.
Well, I'll tell you. Here's why I tell you. Okay, the reason I made that comparison is because Jordan is the most absolute complete competitor I've ever seen. Like I've seen somebody say, if he shook your hand, he'd be like, I'm going to shake your hand harder than anyone's ever shaken it. That's just Michael Jordan. And Tom Brady, to an extent, in the NFL had that type of philosophy for winning. Now, LeBron James, he just broke the scoring record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if Jordan would have played the amount of time that LeBron's played, LeBron would still be looking up at that number, by the way? But there's no way in fuck Jordan gets to the game where he's going to break the record and loses that game. There's no way. That's just not. It's not a precedent was ever set with him. So LeBron's great. He's good in his own right. He can definitely be discussed in the GOAT conversation as Aaron Rodgers can, but just those are the separators for me.
Right. I think I kind of like the comparison because when it comes down to if we're just talking about LeBron James versus Michael Jordan, I like that comparison because I think that LeBron has so much raw talent that it rivals Jordan's raw talent, but he doesn't have that will to win that Jordan had. And you're right. And it's the only other athlete, I mean, aside from maybe a couple of Olympic athletes, the only other athlete that really rivaled that with Jordan, I think, was maybe Wayne Gretzky, the great one, whose scoring record will never be broken in the NHL. So I think, but as far as I don't know. It's hard to compare Tom Brady to really either of those guys, though, if we're talking Gretzky or Jordan, because it's just yes, he has the will to win. Yes, he's probably arguably the greatest football player ever to play, but still, when Jordan walked onto that court, man, the whole stadium changed. And I don't know.
Well, I think what I love is you brought up Iverson, and I'm even in Iverson's Hall of Fame speech, he was I remember the first time I played Jordan, I walked on the court with him, and he was like, I was looking at a figment of imagination. This is real. That's not a real person. He's like, that's not a real person.
Yeah, it's he's like an alien. Yeah, it's you can't even fathom how good this person is.
Yeah, I've got other Nolan Ryan is one that stands out. Michael Phelps. Yeah, those people are they're born winners and accept nothing less. I mean, I love that mentality. It's not
what's his name? The Kardashians' dad. Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah,
or Bruce, we'll say, I guess.
Yeah. What amazing American athlete, true winner, great Olympian.
Right.
Well, whatever happens, Jails,
Right. I mean,
he's going somewhere. If he goes to New York, it's definitely an upgrade from what you had last year. So,
right. Yeah. I'm gonna say I'm just gonna say obviously he's not gonna play till he's 45. But I was just saying because even if let's just say he plays 3 years, it isn't like what were his numbers this year? It was his worst year of his career, but he threw 10 interceptions and still threw like
he threw it was 11 and it was 11 interceptions, which was like by far the highest of his career.
Right. And I'm like, and the Jets quarterbacks throw like 11 interceptions in like 2 games.
So let's throw this out there because I mean I feel like we've talked about this like 5 times. If Rodgers doesn't go to the Jets, he's not staying with the Packers. Who else is a suitor? I mean,
the Raiders, clearly. The Buccaneers.
The Bucks. I've heard Bucks, Raiders.
I mean, I think Indy's got salary cap to take him. Maybe the Saints if they don't land a deal with Carr.
So let me ask you this, Gobo. And the reason I'm throwing this out is because you've had some disparaging comments before. If you're Baltimore and you have a chance to sign Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson for the next 4 years, who would you take?
That's a Sophie's choice, brother. Like, yeah, I don't like either of those picks, but I think I take Lamar. I think I dislike both the decisions, but I think Lamar has way more longevity. I think that you're probably going to get 2 to 3 more quality seasons out of Lamar, and you're going to get 1 to 2 out of Rodgers, and Lamar's going to be a smidge cheaper. So
here's the thing. If Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere and say he does sign a 4-year deal, you're not getting 4 years out of him.
Hell no.
He's already contemplated retirement for the last 2 years. If he doesn't win the Super Bowl in year 1, it's going to be hard for him to come back year 2, and he's definitely not coming back.
Well, the Packers aren't going to waive him and take that salary cap hit. Right. They're gonna find somebody to trade him. So whoever trades for him is taking that contract.
Right.
Well, do you think they'll have a trade and renegotiation in place before they trade for him? I feel like the Jets aren't just going to trade him and say we're going to pay him $60 fucking million. There's no way that's happening. Like they're going to say we agree to this trade and he's agreeing to a new contract.
I honestly, man, I think somebody will. So if I think it's the Jets. I think the Jets are going to do it, but if they don't, like I said, there's other suitors.
Yeah, Rodgers is in control. He's not going to not get what he wants. He already has.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
The only reason the Jets would do this is because they have everything else in place.
They think they
have to believe that before you make a move like this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you as a fan don't feel that you're ready, and the only thing you're missing is a Hall of Fame quarterback, then I can't imagine.
I do think I'm not saying, oh my God, if we get Aaron Rodgers, we're winning. We're going to the playoffs. We're gonna be in the dance and be one of those teams that is the ball bounces the right way. We can go to the game. We can win it. But
I don't know. I also heard a lot of Broncos fans say that about Russ. So I mean, and I think that Rodgers is better than Russell Wilson. But
never know.
You never know. He could come there and completely shit the bed. I hope he doesn't for your sake.
Dude, the only thing that worries me about it is his attitude. Honestly, because he doesn't have that super duper winner's mentality, it just would worry the hell out of me. At least Russell had that.
26 touchdowns.
But my question is how do we say he does? And I know what you mean by winning, but like he wins. He literally wins. Like not how many quarterbacks? Peyton Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers is a winner. He's won 10, 12 games every year of his entire career. Like he is a winner. Like he wins. Like. So
he's still a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's still an upgrade for 90% of the teams in this league. I'll say it right now. Even at his diminished capacity, he's better than most starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right. So, quick question: if he goes to the Raiders, are they that much better with Aaron Rodgers than Carr?
I think the Jets would be better than the Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Jets are a better fit, but if he goes to the Raiders, everybody's going to be very hyped on him and the Devontae reconnection. Yeah, right. I did. Yeah, you went this way. I went scissoring, but either way, I think that everyone would be pretty hyped on that. Does it make the Raiders better? Yes. Does it make them a Super Bowl caliber team? No.
But as a Packers fan, you got to be going, yes, I want Aaron Rodgers to face Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Herbert twice a year. Yep. That's like got to be where every Packers fan.
I mean, as opposed to going to the Jets where he's going to play against Tyreek and Bill Belichick and fucking Josh Allen 3 times a year. So I mean, yeah, there's no bad teams in the NFL, but yeah, it's as long as he's not in our division and I don't have to play against him and lose to him, then I don't give a shit.
Is he there's no chance he's coming back to the Packers though at all, or is that still out there?
I mean, you never say never, but like he's said that he doesn't want to stay with the Packers. The Packers have said they don't intend to force him to stay. I think it would be very high. It's highly unlikely he's going to be the guy next year.
All right, let's talk about Derek Carr.
Yeah, let's talk about DC Saints.
So
I've been hearing Saints.
I've been hearing a lot of things, but this is the most important part about this, and this is what I love. This is why I love Derek Carr. All right, he has a no trade clause in his contract. He's under contract, which means he can go and meet with other teams or whatever, but he can't do anything about it. So when the Raiders came to their decision, they said, well, we can trade you to whatever team you want, He said, no, I'm not waiving my trade clause.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the team I'm going to have to lose draft picks to get me. So, hi, what are we doing? So they fucking released him. They had no choice.
Yeah, they had to.
They get nothing. Well, they'll probably get a compensatory pick at some point for him, but I mean,
what's funny? This is literally what Antonio Brown did with his contract, except he never played one game in a Raiders uniform. But he basically was like you can trade me, but the Raiders are like, nah, we're gonna lose all this money in your contract, and he's just like, okay, fire me then because I'm not playing for you. I thought that was an interesting congruity.
After his frostbitten feet.
With his frostbite feet and his helmet. Yeah. I mean, for one, fuck Antonio Brown, but honestly, that's the thing. Is just like Derek Carr is not perfect, but yeah, he's definitely he will be valuable for a team next year where Antonio Brown has no value in the NFL.
Is there a chance Derek Carr goes to the Packers?
I think it's pretty unlikely. I think honestly, just knowing Brian Gutekunst and his complete inability to make any kind of offseason move in any kind of free agency, I'm guessing Jordan Love is probably number 10. That's going to be the jersey going around the stands next year. But I honestly, I don't think the Carr makes the Packers better than they were this last year. So I kind of hope not.
Right.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's pretty unlikely. I think we.
Oh man, I just thought of a scenario for you. Let's just say, since this is NFHell of all shows,
okay,
and the comments that you've made on this person, let's say that they're like, "We're going to sign Lamar Jackson," and then they sign Lamar Jackson.
No. Then it's truly NFL. You know what? I don't. I like Lamar as a person. I just think he's beat up, man. Like, it'd be like signing Colin Kaepernick. It's just like I like the guy. I like his politics. I like him as a human being. I think he sucks at footballs. I never want him in a Packers uniform. So that's kind of how that's how I feel about how I feel about Lamar as well. I think that it's like those mobile quarterbacks who play for shitty offensive lines take so many hits. They lose their depth perception and they can't throw the ball. It happened to
guys.
It happened to what's his name from the Texans?
What's his
other
name?
Carr?
The other Carr.
Yeah.
Other Carr. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jas, G-Men, what were you saying? You wanted to chime in there? You're good. Okay. So right now, basically, what I'm hearing is from us is, well, this is, I'm going to say my perspective, Rodgers to the Jets, Carr to the
Saints.
That's what I would say. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those are two pretty good logical places for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember now. I remember now. Garoppolo. Where are we going with Garoppolo? Super Bowl quarterback. And he's not even getting talked about. So he'd be an upgrade for the Jets. He'd be an upgrade for the Colts. He'd be an upgrade for the Raiders. Be an upgrade if Rodgers leaves over Love, I would assume.
Yep.
And I think maybe we had this conversation a while ago about Garoppolo coming to the Jets, and I'm actually a little more on the heating up on that, because I feel like he's in a good system, man.
How old is he?
He's not too old. He's like 31.
Because honestly, I would take him over Geno.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. And I agree. And Geno's a good quarterback. I'd take Geno over Jordan Love.
Here's my problem with Geno, you guys. Like, I hate when people are like, he only did it for 1 year. Like, it's good enough. That's good enough. My thing is, I don't want him more than another year.
Right.
Like I'm ready to sign him now for next year, because we have such great draft capital that we can actually put a team around him this year and then draft a quarterback next year or the year after that. And if he needs to sit a year, you still have Geno. But I'm not, these people that want to give him a 3-year deal, I'm like, I don't want that. I'd way rather have Garoppolo for 3 years.
Yeah, I heard.
Make a decision.
I think I would love to see Jimmy in a Packers uniform. But the rumor I heard is Indy wants him bad.
That's
if I remember correctly, Geno just broke all your records for your team. He's not very old.
Not all of them.
He's not very old, and you would rather have Jimmy Garoppolo over him, and you're saying 3 years is a long time. Interesting, James. Like, if you build around him, how good could he be? What happens if he wins a Super? I mean, you're going to end up paying him more because he's going to outperform that little contract. But
that's what I'm saying. Okay. Am I perfectly fine going into next season with Geno Smith? Absolutely. I have faith in him.
I would be. I think
if I'm making a long-term decision for the team that's going to cost me $35 million a year, I'm taking Garoppolo for 3 years instead of Geno. That's my only, because I mean, I don't even know why I feel better about it. I just do.
Garoppolo's 31.
Yeah, Geno's 34, right?
So there's those 3 years difference.
Geno's that old? Holy cow. I thought he was way younger than that.
No, he's been in the league 10 years now.
Yeah. So basically, so I mean, that's the kind of thing with with Garoppolo is he's a Jet. I'd be pretty happy with that as well. Like, I feel like upgrade. Derek Carr is like the one guy I don't really want. There's just something about Derek Carr that he's a good quarterback.
You have been hating on him all year.
I have. I don't know. There's just something about DC that I'm like, let us know below. Do you guys think Derek Carr is he an upgrade? Yes, but is he? I feel like I would be so we'd get to he'd be Mark Sanchez 2.0. Like,
rank the quarterbacks. Rank the quarterbacks between Rodgers, Garoppolo, Carr, and whoever else we talked about. But I'll tell you one thing: I'd rather have DJ over all these guys.
Really?
Why?
Really?
I love the confidence.
Well, he's always been the guy that is there first, there last. Every coach has loved him. He does everything he can. So he's got that Manning work ethic, I believe. And second is his age. I mean, Rodgers is obviously, has a more decorated career, and be pretty hard to argue that. But as far as long term, as a franchise, the Giants typically are, faithful to their guys that put in the work and progress like this, making the playoffs. New system. I mean, we're only going to build more around him as well. So, those 2 reasons: he can run, and he's getting better every year, and he didn't turn it over this year. So
I dig it. At least there's one of us
Future's
that's
bright.
happy with our future.
Yeah.
Future's bright.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Right.
We could talk about coaching hires, but we'll probably do that when the season kicks off next year.
Yeah. There's still a lot of up in the air with coaching.
Right.
We're not well, quarterbacks. We're not quite done with quarterbacks.
Okay,
You guys did see Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes get a standing ovation coming out of a spot pot at the parade. He got a standing ovation coming out of the shitter. That's how good he is.
That's never been done. It's never been done in the history of
I've never seen it.
Do you guys get a little pissed off when you see them say they're going to Disneyland, knowing goddamn well they're not going to go to Disneyland?
I feel like that's one of those things that was like no one cares anymore about that shit.
I know, right? Yeah, it's I don't know. The whole subculture of Disney adults are just on the internet is so fucking cringe right now. Anyways, that it's just like, yeah, it's like, do you really want to? But yeah,
Nice.
I don't care what you do with. Yeah, I'm glad that like aside from like going to the White House where you'll have like the Donald Trump fast food buffet. Aside from that, like nothing is really guaranteed. Which I'm sure Andy Reid is disappointed that he's no longer in the White House.
Oh, thank you for bringing this up. I want to talk about this because something needs to happen here. I love NFL coverage, and I think all those guys do a really good job. Except for one. There's one person that needs to be removed from this equation. Does anybody know who I'm talking about? He was a quarterback for Pittsburgh.
What?
Terry Bradshaw?
Terry fucking Bradshaw, you guys. I don't know if you watched the post game. I'm a bigger gentleman myself, but the fact that he as Andy Reid is receiving trophies for his greatness, he's like, waddle over here, big guy. Waddle over here. He called him big guy like 3 times. He said, waddle over here. He was like, cheeseburger on me later. And he was just like, hey, you're fucking old, man. He's like, are you going to retire? He's like, you're getting up there in age. Are you going to retire? And it's just like, how fucking tone deaf of and he did this after the championship game in Philly too.
He did.
This guy, he's just tone deaf. He doesn't know basic etiquette, dude. Like it drives me insane. And I felt so bad for Andy Reid in this moment where he is to be celebrated. Waddle over here. That's like most of.
Well, and I think the Andy Reid like cheeseburger big guy mentality thing. I think it is kind of harmless in the sense that that Andy's kind of leaned into it his entire career, but you have a really good point in the fact that you just won the Super Bowl.
Well, so and it's that, and like the N-word is exchanged between those people as something that's accepted. I feel like he's like the guy that now comes in and thinks he can start using the N-word. That's how he's using these terms. Like he's not like.
Well, Bradshaw's a chunky dude.
Yeah, but he's completely tone deaf and.
Yeah, but he's I agree. He's old. He's past it. He needs to retire. Go make commercials where those sort of things are less frowned upon.
Right. Maybe they're best friends and they joke about it all the time. But if not, that's pretty bad Bradshaw. And he always looks like he's just baked out of his mind, man. His eyes are just glazed. I don't know if it's just how old he is or if
he's just old, actually, man. I mean. If like hang out with your grandparents sometimes. Like the amount of pharmaceuticals they're on, like holy cow! I know mine are too, but I just, before they died, think about the amount of drugs that your grandparents were taking. Like, old people have their own personal Coachella going on at any given time.
So he did this in the championship game when the Eagles won. Go back and also try and find the pregame where he's talking to Michael Vick about the fact that there's 2 black quarterbacks facing each other. It is the most cringe-inducing. Even Michael Vick's like, oh my God, I don't even know. He's like, get me out of here. The look on his face is just like, please stop talking. I don't know how to react to this. It was just get him out of there, man. Pull him out. He's tone deaf.
Let us know what you think below about Terry down below.
Please, if I'm off base,
Terry,
so be it. Waddle over to the comments and let us know.
Yeah,
Waddle. Yeah, Jalen Waddle over to the comments. Yeah,
Badoop boop. Shh. All right, let's get kind of back on the quarterback track. Tennessee Titan Ryan Tannehill. Also, I've heard his name flying around a little bit, and I've heard his name actually to the Jets as well. But possibly they have some interest in him because we did just hire a coach that has some ties to Carr and Tannehill. So, quarterback coach. So apparently,
guys, I think Ryan Tannehill is now at the backup point of his career. He's had a couple go arounds. He's had some good seasons. He's leaned heavily on a run game and a pretty good defense in Tennessee. I mean, he did have his first year or two. He was pretty good, but probably still an upgrade for the Jets because who isn't? But I'm not sure with all those other guys hanging around. If you want Ryan Tannehill, if you think you're going to go to the Super Bowl, you might as well go bigger than that.
Yeah, I'm saying as a Jets fan, I'd rather have Zach Wilson come back and start than fucking Tannehill. I feel like
Tannehill's basically Joe Flacco at this point. He was great. Well, he was marginally good in a great system. And yeah, he's met the most amount of success he's going to see in his career as a starter.
James, can you add to that?
I was just thinking you can't possibly believe that you'd rather have Wilson than Tannehill.
Yeah. He's still young. We have time. We can develop him, man. He's my guy. He's still my guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Next year.
Now I hope he's your quarterback next year. So
he's growing. Yeah. He's got to grow up. He's got to grow up at some point. Just being a little baby. Zach, that is. Zach, just being a little baby. Any other quarterbacks we got out here that are floating around? To the Jets, to the Saints? Because who are the Raiders get if they don't?
What's happening in Minnesota? And is Geno going to sign in Seattle? If not, where would he go?
I think Minnesota's pretty solid with Cousins. I think if he's up for contract, I'm sure they'll make a deal.
They got a new D coordinator, so I don't think they're blaming it on the offense.
Yeah, he's
okay. So
they had a great season too. I mean, Minnesota, the bar for success is not always Lombardi.
So we got Baker Mayfield.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, is Baker in the league next year? Does he play for somebody?
Does anybody here want him?
I don't.
I like the kid. I
kind of do. I kind of do too.
It's like, how can he go from being the number one pick to like me? We're just all like,
I think yeah. If Jordan Love starts like 2-6 or something, then yeah, I would say give Baker a shot. But out the gate, I'm a little heavier. I would lean on Love a little bit more than Baker Mayfield.
I mean, Baker did play really good down the stretch for the Rams, right? And maybe he is kind of one of those Ryan Tannehill or someone that has that change of scenery, grows up a little bit, not in all these commercials because he's not, fresh and new in the league. And it kind of gets him back in the, football mode instead of always in the limelight. And he balls out. But still an upgrade for the Jets, but who knows where else.
You guys know who else is a free agent? Drew Lock.
Daniel Jones.
Drew Lock.
Are you resigning him?
Out of the league?
Okay. Here's the thing.
Drew Lock, the quarterback of the San Antonio Roughnecks or whatever next year.
You never got to look at him. If somebody willing to give him a look.
He got
plenty of luck in Denver.
I wouldn't say plenty.
I would say plenty.
Drew
Lock
is
All right.
Agreed.
I guess that's what we're talking about, Drew Lock, and moving on.
Yeah.
Nobody wants Drew Lock.
Nobody wants Drew Lock. Change the name of the show to that.
I mean, so I feel like
he will be signed by somebody. I promise you that.
Right.
Because it's Well, there's 32 starting positions.
Maybe a practice squad arm.
I mean, he could be a number 2 somewhere. I think it's possible that he could be a number 2 somewhere, but I don't think it's guaranteed.
Stay in Seattle.
He might.
Yeah.
He might. He knows the system. I would say. So what about the Colts? Because we kind of haven't really talked about. Like they had who's their guy? Who's their Colts
Jimmy.
guy?
Jimmy
You
G.
think Jimmy? You think that's the one? Yeah.
I would like to see that. That would be very interesting. It's time that the Colts are viable again. They've been just bottom feeders for longer than I can care to wish for.
Hey, speaking of Colts quarterbacks, I saw possibly Andrew Luck might be ready to be voted for a Hall of Famer. Do we think he played long enough to be a Hall of Famer? When I saw that, I was like, I don't think so.
I think he was on track. He was on track to make the Hall of Fame, but he quit too early.
Here's the
never
problem.
won a Super Bowl.
Here's the problem. Russell Wilson's won a Super Bowl and lost a Super Bowl, and he's still borderline. And Andrew Luck did neither of those things and played 3 less seasons. So I don't see it.
I think Russ is in. Not first ballot, but he'll make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, if he has any kind of rebound season, I mean, if he gets back to playing at the level that he was when he was in Seattle, he's a first ballot.
Well, he'll be a first ballot if he wins another Super Bowl, but he's not going to win another Super Bowl.
They're a mess over there. I mean,
yeah, they are.
NFL.
It's hard to see them sorting it out in less than 2 years. So,
right,
especially in that division, you guys. Fuck.
2 Jets did make the Hall of Fame though. Darrelle Revis and Joe Klecko, which is well overdue. So,
and both solid choices. I mean, those are
Revis Island, man. He was a prolific player. It was great.
Sauce, defensive rookie of the year. Garrett Wilson, offensive rookie. I mean, I do have some Jet. My NFL is maybe getting closer to the crust, the earth. I'm getting up here.
You're not out. You're not out until you make the playoffs.
I'm representing why that happened.
Because they dominated.
Dude, I have guys on my team that dominated every bit as much as your guys, and the statistics will match that. They just don't have the media behind them.
Have you seen Sauce's outlier?
Look, you can argue it all you want. Until you admit that there's some substance to what I'm saying, I don't really care what you have to say about it. I'm happy that you guys won it because it's just an award. When it comes down to it, it's not like a Super Bowl or anything. But it has everything to do with talent, first of all. But the media behind it is enormous. You have every major show that covers sports in that area, and you have 0 in Seattle. There's no, come on. Look at the numbers. There's a case to be,
right, there is a case to be made, but I also feel like
I'm not saying they're not deserving. I'm saying the reason that both of those guys won is because
I wouldn't say both of them won. I would say Wilson was close, and maybe it could have went to your boy, but Sauce was dominant, dude. Sauce was dominant this year. I don't care about Anderson. Go look at his numbers. Passer rating against.
He was first team All-Pro, first rookie in 42 years. So I agree with Sauce. And is the Sauce going to get his own island? When do we have Sauce Island? Is that out there yet? Did I just make some money off this?
One more year playing like that, he'll have Sauce Island.
Sauce
By
far was the more impressive of the two. I give you that.
Okay.
But the numbers still. What's been explained to me is that Tariq Woolen's numbers, he had 6 interceptions on the year, but none after week 13. And so he kind of died off as people were starting to look into voting. And that makes sense to me, but ultimately the media is behind New York. You can't argue it. You can't argue it.
Well, here's the deal. Like your running back got more first place votes than Garrett, but Garrett got overall the most points because he got second. So he got more first place votes. So I feel like that doesn't. I don't know. I still feel like they vote on the numbers as well. And I mean, I feel like they were just so close. It wasn't like either of our rookies dominated.
At the end of the day, though, it is like Dame says. I mean, it is just an award. I mean, we're talking about the overall benefits to the teams. Like all four of those guys are obviously very beneficial, and you want to keep them. They're all going to get big contracts. So, if they don't get hurt,
So congratulations. Come contract negotiation time, those awards just cost you guys millions. And thank you for saving Seattle a couple $1 million.
Yeah. I mean,
ultimately,
sure.
I mean, that's what the awards mean.
Yeah. Ask Aaron Rodgers. Anyways.
Any other before we get to
I was like, let's talk about the Super Bowl, man. Yeah.
When do you guys want to talk about the halftime show? Halfway through?
Yeah, halfway through. We'll talk about the first half, going into the second half. We'll talk about our records, how I went undefeated again for the third time in the playoffs. Want to know for my 169th win and final of the season. What year did the Jets win the Super Bowl? 69. Boom.
Nice.
How about that full circle? James Marks, how'd you do?
I lost.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was you still had the best overall record though? So you
still better than yours by quite a bit. I was 176 and 108.
G-Men won. We did not lose 100 games. Did my winning percentage jump you, Dames? What do you guys see you looking over there? What do you got for win percentages?
I'm still 1% ahead of you.
Oh,
well done.
But I mean, you had 2 weeks that you missed that you could have overtaken.
Could have went either way,
and probably would have, because early on I was not.
Yeah, that's true. You did make a huge, and I was the other way. I was like,
yeah, you got awful cocky.
Yeah.
And the minute you were like, I'm running away with this, I straight up DK Metcalf to your Buda Baker. Ran you down.
That was good, yeah, and I'm all like, too easy. But that's what happens in NFL. You know what I mean? Our brains they can't think clearly. So, GOBO.
Faceplant. Yeah, I spent $10 on a Shady McCoy jersey at the Arc and wore it on the show to emphasize how much I thought the Eagles were going to win this game. And Patrick Mahomes, man, he's dude is he's legit. And yeah, Chiefs. I was wrong.
Yep. So I don't know about you guys at home who played along, who watched the game. Tell us what you thought. Comment down there. I'll kind of start it off. Basically, what I thought was going to happen was both teams are going to come out. It was going to be, and I was like, man, who's ever ready to play? The Eagles came out. I was like, holy shit! Like I thought, dang, I thought they were going to, I thought they were going to do it. I was like, man, their defense is so good. Yes, Patty Mahomes, but if their offense is clicking on all cylinders, I thought for sure.
I'll tell you what, man. This game was I think it was definitively the best two teams in the NFL. Up front, just battles every single position. It was just go, and yeah. That first half, I got to tell you that Jalen Hurts, man. I was watching him. I was like, this kid's got it. This kid's he's going to be a long-term big time NFL talent. Especially in the first half, yeah, because he was finding his receivers, he was making the right reads, and yeah, that especially that the Eagles offensive line, they just looked dynamite in the first half.
So let's look at the first half. Let's pretend for a second that fumble recovery for a touchdown went for a touchdown in the other direction because they were able to hold on to the ball and score. I think that ends the game, honestly. At that point, I think that you gave the Chiefs a bit of a striking distance with getting the ball at halftime to think that they had a chance. And I know Andy Reid knew Andy Reid has got to be, and this is I'm going to quote my stepdad on this. he's got to be now considered one of the greatest coaches of all time. That halftime adjustment, and I read that he told his players they would be benched in the second half if they tried to sneak away to watch the halftime show, because what he had to say to them at that moment was what they needed to hear to turn the game around. And, well, we all saw the second half. Tale of two different teams, man. We thought Mahomes was dead going into halftime. And then he comes out like he's never had an injury in his life, and just
right. I mean, and I'm going to say maybe people at home didn't realize, or maybe they do, but the Chiefs O-line allowed 0 sacks.
0.
Like, hey, I need my O-line to play the best game they can play all season long in the Super Bowl. Is that cool? They did. They did it. 10 sacks each guy, and they don't get any sacks. Like, got one, that Mahomes doing that. Like, to me, that could have been the MVP right there.
You know what? And I knew that statistic, so I went back and I looked at all the defenses, or the offenses and defenses that the Eagles played against this year. They had a pretty soft schedule, all things considered. So when you look at the offenses that they went up against with the defense, I kind of see where that number was bolstered a little bit by playing some poorer teams. But, I mean, still, they were the third highest, I think, of all time. With sacks for a season. So,
guys, I want to talk. Yeah,
go.
I want to talk about that Eagles schedule as well. I have that on my list of things to talk about. And it's true. Some years you got the schedule and everything kind of falls together, and everybody was talking like they were the greatest team ever, and they ran into Mahomes. And I think the league is happy and excited to kind of anoint him as the new Brady, with Brady retiring. Mahomes wins it. The call we all don't want to talk about pretty much ended that game instead of seeing if Hurts could march down the field to win the Super Bowl. So the climatic part of this whole Super Bowl for me just, didn't ruin it because the Eagles lost, but it would have been pretty cool to see what would have happened. And then a final note, Coach Sirianni out-coached in the second half, like you're saying, no adjustments, and he has to have his quarterback hold his hand down or pull his hand down or tell him to stop because he's flipping someone off. Head coach of a Super Bowl team has to have his quarterback, yo, bro, what are you doing? Like,
I didn't even see.
Yeah,
if you're hearing something, or you're not in the game if you're hearing someone to flip them off about something.
You've heard me say before that my favorite player ever would be somebody that just scores and says, "Here's," like Barry Sanders did. For every touchdown. Love him or hate the guy, he was like the pinnacle of class, right? And we have a hothead on our team in DK Metcalf that drives me nuts. I call them mental midgets, because when the moment gets too big, and I think to an extent, Travis Kelce is this way.
Yeah,
he doesn't know when to shut his fucking mouth. Like, you won, dude. You don't have to be like he said on his podcast this week. He was a sore loser. I think he's a sore winner, if I'm being honest with you.
Yep.
But my question for you was, when you said that you had on your list to talk about the Eagles' schedule, what was your note on that?
Well, mainly every game, if you go through it, there's kind of a reason.
Okay, so you're backing my play on that one. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm backing you. Sorry if I bounced from thought to thought, but yeah, there's a reason for all of them, and some of them are funny, but a lot of them are real. And we'll see what happens next year. Obviously, he's a great talent. They have a great team, but they have 21 free agents, I think I saw. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that to be broken up, and kind of they got to be ready to start paying some of these players, and it's going to hurt their roster. So I'm glad they didn't win it, and they're going to lose some players.
GOBO.
I was gonna say, I saw that meme about the Eagles schedule, and yeah, they had a couple of gimmies. They lost to Heineke. They almost got beat by the Colts. They almost got beat by Houston. they had a couple of games where they really showed their color, or where they showed some kinks in the armor. So I think it's hard to say though, because I still think, despite their kind of lack of schedule, I think that they played the Chiefs harder than any other team played them this year in the postseason. And I think that, one, correct call at the end goes the other way. We could be having a completely different discussion.
I'm going to argue with you on this.
Sure.
Correct as the call may have been, you don't
soft.
fucking call it at that point in the game, dude.
Yeah, it was soft.
Never does that get called at that point in the game. And here's the thing. Do I have a problem with the outcome of the game? Absolutely not. Do I think the Chiefs still may have won? Probably. But here's the thing. We all knew there was a field goal coming. The difference between that call and the reason that you don't make that call is it completely took one of the greatest games we've ever watched in the biggest stage of all time from this grandiose thing to a whisper. We get to run the clock down to 11 seconds and then kick a field goal. I would way rather have seen the field goal get kicked and then have to have them defend for a minute and 15 seconds.
Right.
That's the problem that I have with that call. It was, and the ball that was thrown was uncatchable. No matter if he could have fell on the guy, and there was no way he was catching up to that ball. I know that's not how holding works, but
it was holding.
It was a holding call. Yeah,
I know that's not how that works, but I mean, Jesus Christ, like,
I wouldn't have
called it. It was pretty fucking soft
at that point in the game.
And I remember there was a few years ago, as I was on the other side of this. It was the NFC Championship. Brady, Rodgers, Tampa was driving for the game-winning field goal, or Tampa had like a 3-point lead. They had the ball and they needed a first down to get to win the game essentially, and they got it on a very soft fucking defensive holding call. And I think that these NFL refs, it's like there's a difference between making the right call and like making the right call for the situation that you're in.
Is it that they do the same thing that some of these players do? They just lose their emotion in the moment, and they're just. I mean, can that happen to an official too?
I mean, they are.
Or is it? Sure. Or do they want the new Mahomes to be the new Brady or whatever?
Well, I sincerely hope that there's no notes going out to these refs that tell them what to do at specific times. There never should be. Just fucking call the game the right way. The problem that I have is when a game ends and an official is one of the headlines, it's problematic. It's problematic for the league. It's problematic for anybody that watches. Especially, I mean, there's Eagle fans that are way more pissed off than I am, and there's Chiefs fans that are way more happy than I am. But like, it's the worst for the people that don't have a skin in the game and they just want to watch the best possible game. That's who got robbed in that Super Bowl. And I mean, it is what it is.
It is. That's kind of what I was a little more like, whatever. I feel like calls get made all the time. They're bullshit. I watch football all the time, and I get screwed. I don't get screwed. It happens at the beginning of a game, the end of a game. I still think maybe that could have even close to been a catch and a fumble, and that guy returned 2 touchdowns for fumbles to the house. I thought it was borderline.
You know what? They need to change that rule because to me, that was always a catch back in the day. Until they made the rule changes, like possess the ball. You don't have to make a football move to call that a catch.
Yeah, like
what is that? That's
a football move that's like so subjective too.
You're adding a layer to it that doesn't need to be there. A catch plus a move is a catch? No, a catch is a catch.
It's so funny because you can do the toe drag, just catch it with your toes in, and you're good without making a football move. But then in the field of play, you have to make a football. It's even different at different parts of the field. You can just catch it in the back of the end zone with your toes, and it's a touchdown.
Well, yeah, and you can catch it, put it over the line, and drop it, and it's fine. But if you catch it on the back, perfectly fall to the ground, get up, blah, 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 it falls out. Like, well, no, that's not.
It's on the list of most frustrating rules in the NFL. Yeah. What is a catch and what's, dude? If you're a kid and you're just now learning the game of football, you're like, that wasn't a catch.
Yeah,
what are you talking about? Us, yeah. What are you talking about?
Right, and I would say so. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm with you, Dave. It's like kind of made a dip because that game was amazing, and all the way up till halftime, Mahomes gets hurt. We're all thinking, "Oh my God," blah blah blah. And then what happens? Rihanna comes out, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Is the halftime show because we're about halfway through the game. James Mars, let's hear it. First of all, congrats, Rihanna, baby. Good job.
To me, the question is, what was the worst call? The call at the end of the game, or the call to have her do the halftime show?
Really?
Okay. I realize there's a lot of fans of hers, and those people were like, this was great. Okay. If you're not a fan of hers already, this halftime show did nothing to make you want to become a fan. There were no costume changes. She stood on a single platform the entire time, really. Strapped to it most of the time. Did you see that?
Well, she had the wire.
Yeah. She's pregnant. You can't fall off a giant platform.
I'm not pregnant, but I couldn't fall off a platform either. I would be over. But I mean, there was 2 songs I recognized. The one that she wrote for me, "Shine Bright Like Damon." If you listen to it, that's exactly what she says. Shine bright like a diamond. I'm just telling you what I hear.
New fan.
And the Umbrella song. Those are the only 2 songs that I've ever remotely even known of hers. And they were fine. People that say it was a bad show, she wasn't off key. She didn't miss notes.
Right.
It was boring. It was just boring.
It was choreographed.
I'll shut up after this.
Okay.
Give me Weird Al. Okay. And here's why I say this. All right. Genre hopper. He's all over different genres. He's gonna do aluminum foil. He's gonna do Amish Paradise. He's gonna do Like a Surgeon. He's gonna do I'm Fat. He's gonna do Beat It or Eat It. He's gonna give you. Look at you're laughing and you're not even you're seeing in your head what I'm seeing on. I mean, it would be amazing.
But is the halftime show supposed to be funny, or is it supposed to be?
Dude, it would be entertaining and fun.
I agree.
It's supposed.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
What you add to this to make it Super Bowl worthy is all the artists that are still living. Like, can you imagine Dave Grohl playing drums on "Smells Like Nirvana"? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That's true.
Yeah,
that'd be fucking amazing.
That would be something.
And then I mean, there you go. Well, let's make this happen.
So
that's all I have to say about it. It was boring to me. It was. I'm Randy Jackson. It was just all right here, dog. That's my
thoughts. Yeah, my thoughts on this one are the idea and the up there. Yeah, that would have been cool for 15 seconds, or it started there and came down or went up or whatever. But like you're saying, it was almost the whole performance. And then on top of that, I don't know if having young kids now or what it is for sure, but some of the dancing they were doing was ridiculous. Like, I mean, it's cool that they have 1,000 dancers all in the same choreography. That just means you have way too much money. But I mean, yeah, it was boring, and last year's was 1,000 times better. And and then you see all these people giving it rave reviews. I don't know.
So my perspective on the whole thing is before the 90s, there wasn't even really halftime shows. I think like Michael Jackson was like one of the very first ones where they had like a marquee artist to actually come and perform. And before that, it was like marching bands and choirs. But like looking at halftime shows, they have to be corporate, like corporate viable. So it has to be something that a corporate sponsor can get behind. Rihanna is a big name. I think that I don't know if you guys remember, there was a huge like rumor that like Taylor Swift was supposed to do it this year, and then like for whatever reason came out and said no, I'm not doing it, and then immediately they announced Rihanna. So I wonder if maybe there was some shit that went down, and so this was kind of like a jerk response by the NFL. Is just like, oh, we didn't get the artist we wanted, so here's the next best thing. And Rihanna didn't. She put on a Rihanna concert. She didn't put on a Super Bowl halftime show. She performed basically, probably if you went and bought tickets to a Rihanna concert at whatever giant stadium in your city, you'd see the same show. It wouldn't be any different. So it was fine. I'm lukewarm on Rihanna. I like Rude Boy is a good song of hers. But I honestly like, I could take it or leave it. The fact that she was pregnant or whatever, like, I don't care. It's just celebrity gossip. I could honestly give a shit. So
right, and I did also see that the reason that a lot of the stuff was in the air and there wasn't much on the thing this year is because of the field, and they had a bunch of fucking rules, and I don't know if you guys know it, the entire field was painted. The entire thing, the grass was painted green. Like, that's why all these players were pissed. So apparently they had also these new rules where they couldn't put a stage. Like, so I feel like that's why they had to build it up in the air, and then they couldn't have a bunch of stuff on there. So I'm kind of like you, GOBO. I was like, back in the day, I don't remember shit for Super Bowl. Like, why not just get a band out there, have a tiny little stage, just have them play? The cameras do all the work. Zoom in on them. It's HD. Yeah. There you go. You don't need a huge show. Like, just have them off to the side so it doesn't ruin the field.
Let's talk about this field a little more, guys. Like, for real. Arizona plays football here all year. They know the grass. They have everything where they know what cleat they need. You get to the Super Bowl, the biggest game in all of football, and they have this different grass that grows this different color that they have to paint green. They paint all this huge logo on the field. And I'm pretty sure some players had went through 6 different cleat sizes during the game to find what was the best for them. The NFL's too big for that bullshit. Like, what is going on?
Right.
Who signs off on this stuff? Right. Like, where is the commission?
Proactively solve a fucking problem. Like, it should be the highest amount of accountability from the league to make sure the playing conditions are acceptable.
Let me throw this at you guys, since we're talking about this. The last 3 Super Bowls that have been played in this building are arguably the best 3 Super Bowls in the last 2 decades. Because the last time was Seattle losing to Tom Brady. That was one of the best games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I unfortunately came out on the wrong side of it. And then the other one was the Giants, right?
Right. But that doesn't mean
the best fucking games that you'll ever see in the big game.
But that doesn't mean they painted those fields.
No, but
here's the deal.
This is my point.
If you don't know this as well, must have been geeking out a few times, but the guy who has done the field for the Super Bowl has done it every single Super Bowl. This is his 57th Super Bowl of doing the grass. This grass was grown for 2 years leading up to this game. Like, they have been only growing this grass for the Super Bowl. So I feel like this guy missed because he misjudged. Something happened. Like, they missed because, like you said, they shouldn't be changing that. All that paint. I mean, it's like common sense. Once again, we're like, common sense, dude. Like, don't put paint on a field all over it. Like, it's going to be slick. Like, that's just common sense. Have you ever painted anything? Like, grass, man? So.
Grass, man.
Anyway, probably should move on to the second half. We got to keep talking about the big game.
Well, I'm going to throw one thing. Rihanna did turn down the Super Bowl in 2019. She turned it down. And this was her first performance in 7 years.
Oh.
That's what the NFL. Yeah, so they got probably a lot of her fans viewing the Super Bowl who maybe wouldn't have watched it because they want to see her perform for the first time in 7 years. And it was her big announcement that she was pregnant. No one knew until she was on stage at the Super Bowl. I mean, like, we don't care, but I'm sure her fans or people who.
I'm sure somebody cares. Yeah, there's some culture of people that give a shit about that.
And she gave birth less than a year ago. Also,
right. So they'd be getting after it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, second half, Andy Reid's speech. Don't go watch Rihanna. Come out, kick the shit out of score every possession. We're going to score every possession and win. There you go. I feel like, and they did it. They did it. Yeah, they look like a totally different team. They just looked like they were in control. Like I said, the Eagles also looked like they were in control of the game. It wasn't like every time they had the ball, it was like, oh, they're going to go down and score too. Like, it seemed like it. So, I don't know about you guys, but I just felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win. So,
it was a damn good football game. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like Dame said to end on a whimper of that stupid penalty, because it definitely, this would have gone down as one of the greats.
Yeah. Your boy Tony scored a touchdown though.
Yeah, we can talk about.
I've been building up all year. That is just
epitome. Let me talk about this guy. Talk about, everyone's like, oh, blah, blah. Guys, he caught a 4-yard pass wide open, just like Sky Moore did on the other side. And he had a sweet-ass punt return. But, when you play one game out of every 20 or 15 or 10, I mean, are you reliable? No. Will you make some good plays if you play and don't get hurt? Sure. But are you going to pay, big receiver money for someone to show up 5 to 10 games out of the year? I mean, he's young, so is it worth it? Is it worth the risk for someone like the Chiefs? Doesn't matter because Mahomes is great. Probably makes more sense for them than someone like the Giants. We're trying to rely on somebody to get on the same page and build chemistry with, a young quarterback. So Mahomes is young, but
what's also funny is we haven't mentioned Melvin Gordon yet.
Yeah, I did see that.
Who played for 2 division rival teams, including one this season. And did he play any? He didn't play one snap for the Chiefs, right? Like he was on the roster, and he's back. He's in the locker room smoking a cigar, with getting a Super Bowl ring with the Chiefs, and he played for the Chargers and Broncos. I thought that was the fucking funniest thing.
Yeah.
That's just another part of Denver's NFL, dude.
That's why. Yeah, a Bronco fan would fit right in this show.
So, my last comment on this game before we wrap this up, is Bronco related. Also, in the pregame, Sean Payton, the newly anointed coach of the Denver Broncos, was on the record saying that the Chiefs had a major advantage in the kicking game against the Eagles. And even then, this was like hours before the game. I was like, Sean Payton doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, Harrison Butker is statistically the worst kicker in the NFL. And you're sitting here telling me that they have an advantage in the kicking game over the Eagles? I'm like, congratulations, Denver. That's your head coach. Good luck. And that's my Super Bowl. I'm done. Whatever you guys say, it's fine.
James Morris.
And then doink. He was right. And then Butker with the win. He's right again. Guys, great season. Ready for reloading the roster. I love this upcoming part of the season, especially if you don't win the Super Bowl. It's time to build, reload, see what free agents we keep, which ones we don't. You never know.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's a blank slate. Everyone's 0-0 now. So, I mean.
Yeah.
The draft is the next time you guys will see us.
Yep. Join us on NFL for the NFHell draft, where we're going to see if our teams can add some sweet new members.
And the draft is in Kansas City this year, you guys. So we're actually contemplating doing a live draft show from Kansas City.
I'm in.
It's 3 hours away from us.
Took it off work already.
Gobo's a little bit further, but
it's 11 hours for old Gobo. But yeah, I mean, we may be able to work it out.
Yeah.
It'd be fun, man.
I believe you.
We all have. I mean, it's gonna be fun. We all have a reason to be there. So, anyway, gentlemen, What a great season of talking football. Seriously. Jails, this is our 25th week here. I feel like we're the old, you know. I'm not gonna say like Tom Brady's, but there's gotta be some other 45-year-olds that suck.
Right.
That's us. That's us.
Yeah.
And then,
I wasn't on the TB12 until I hit age 40.
Right. And then Jess joined us on week 3 when Benjamin dropped out. Benjamin's now got his own show on Lock 22. It's called Two Marks and a Spark. It's a wrestling show. Goes live every Sunday. We've got Gobo's got a new show coming up in a couple of weeks, whenever you're ready. Whenever you're feeling good.
Couple weeks, we had to push back a little bit. Old Gobo ran into a couple of health issues, so we did have to pump it back. But Puck University, it's going to be my show with my co-host Tom Mitchell, and look for that in the next couple of weeks. And we're going to be talking about NHL free agency, playoff push, and it's going to be real dynamite stuff here. I'm looking forward to it quite a bit. I can't call it NHell because I'm an Avalanche fan and we just won the Stanley Cup. So yeah, I'm riding high right now. So we'll see. Give it a couple more seasons.
Puck you.
Whatever. You've had a hockey team for like 10 minutes, Dames.
I know, and I love it though.
I do. The Kraken are cool. They're a cool team.
All right. Thank you. Love you guys. Make sure you comment below. Midwest Jet, Dames Marbs, G-Men Jazz, Gobo, see ya for season 2 and the NFL draft of NFHell.
NF. Don't forget to speak your piece in the comments section. Also, like and subscribe to Lock 22 Productions, and thank you for listening to NFHell.